Hey, Mark from Kelly Brothers here. Today I want to talk about common occurrences. People want to know, why is my furnace not working? The truth is, there's a number of possibilities, but let's walk through them and it will give you an idea of how it works so that maybe you can figure out approximately what's wrong. So when the furnace comes on, we have a call for heat from the thermostat, and I'm going to turn this on, and we'll see the first thing that happens is this motor will start up. There it goes. Now if you get a call for heat, I'm going to turn that off. If you get a call for heat and that motor does not start, we have to ask ourselves why. The question is it being told to start? Does it have power? So on here you can see I would disconnect this plug right here, and on this side of it, when I turn it on, I should have 120 volts across these two pins. If I do, and this motor doesn't start, then this motor is bad. It needs to be replaced. If I don't, then I would check down here, make sure we have power coming into the furnace, first of all, and then I take a jumper across the R. If you can't see this, but there's one that says R, one says W. I put a wire across them and see if it starts. If it does not start, the problem is probably your circuit board. If it does start, the problem is somewhere in the wire that goes from here up to the thermostat or the thermostat itself. Now, that's an overview. Let's move forward. It's not going to start because I don't have it clipped back together. Hold that thought. There we go. So now it's going to run. The next thing that happens is the igniter should come on. We should see a glow. If this just runs and the igniter never comes on, now we've got multiple possibilities. You can see now that that's glowing. But if this fan runs but this never turns on, the problem could be a couple of possibilities. One is this switch is not closing. If this switch doesn't close, it could be that it's a bad switch. It could be, this is a pressure switch, that there's something blocking the flue. It could be that this motor is getting bad and is spinning too slowly to cause enough draft to pull that switch closed. It could be that the igniter is bad. The way to check the igniter part is just like we did with the inducer, disconnect it. This is going to the igniter, and we check here, let that run, put your meter on. If we get to 120 volts, then the problem is the igniter. If not, then the igniter is not being told to close, so the igniter is not the problem necessarily. It would be the switch not closing, or the circuit board is bad, not telling the igniter to come on. The next step after the igniter comes on, sometimes you'll see, and this happens a lot, you'll come down and look and you'll see the flames come on and then they shut back off. Let me demonstrate this. I'm going to pull this wire off and we'll start it up. So it's going to go through the same motions. Inducer comes on. Once that gets going, pressure switch closes. I could hear that click. I don't know if you could. That's closed. Now the igniter will glow and then the gas valve will open. But I've removed this wire, so the furnace is going to think there's no fire here, just gas. So it runs and it shuts off. If that's what you're seeing, the problem is the flame sense, it's not being registered. This is often caused by a dirty flame sensor, which is a maintenance issue. It's why we need to do maintenance on our furnaces. I'll let it do it one more time. Or the other thing is, it's very important on this circuit that we have good grounds connected. So we want to make sure that, believe it or not, fun fact, the electricity through here goes up the flame and hits the flame rod and then goes to ground. If we don't complete that circuit, it assumes there's no fire there and we're just dumping raw gas into the house. So it protects itself. what it's doing now is, see, this motor's still spinning. Once it did that, it keeps blowing to try to clear, make sure we clear all that gas out of the system, because it didn't know that it lit. It only knows that there was no fire down here. There, it just turned off, and we're going to try again. Let's watch it. Here's the end of it. So it's running, and then it stops. We want to see we want to measure the amperage across this to check them, and we should be getting at least 1.5 microamps. Many of them are much higher than that. I'll put this back in. Another thing that we want to look at is, because that is going back to ground, this is the burner face. We want to make sure there's no rust on there, because it's going back to this, which is going to ground. You can see right here on this furnace, here's the ground right up front. So this has to be clean as well, which we want to take with a good wire brush and clean those off. And we want to get this back in before the fire lights. There we go. It's back in. So now it's going to run again. I put the probe back on so the fire will keep going, and we'll let it start up again. So remember, inducer starts, pressure switch closes. Sometimes the pressure switches are just small black things. They don't use these often anymore. That comes on, igniter lights, gas valve opens, prove the flame sense, or prove the flame I should say, and now we're burning fire through the burners. It's heating up the heat exchanger. As soon as that gets nice and warm, it'll come on. So at this point, if you have a bad blower motor, or if you have an older furnace that has a capacitor, you could have a bad capacitor. If one of those are bad, the blower will never come on. What will happen is this will trip because it gets too hot. There goes the blower motor. Now that's blowing air. So if that didn't come on, we can turn this off. I'm going to turn it off here at the gas valve so it has time to cool down. I don't just shut it off hot. If that doesn't come on, then the problem is either the circuit board is not telling the blower motor to come on, the blower motor is bad, or the capacitor is bad. That's if we get through all of those steps. And interestingly, you can see now, I turned the gas valve off. It's trying to relight right now, but the gas valve is off. So it won't light at all. Now I know most people, I just went over an overview, most people don't have all the tools necessary to go through all of that, but it gives you an idea of where the failure is within the starting cycle. The order of operations will give you an idea of roughly where you are. So to recap, the thermostat calls for heat, the circuit board makes sure the pressure switch is open, then the inducer will start, the pressure switch closes, the igniter energizes, the gas valve opens, the flames come on, and then they are proven. The blower motor starts after a few seconds, and then your house is warm. So again, most people don't have the testing tools necessary to diagnose a furnace properly. If you need us at all, give us a call here at Kelly Brothers. We're always happy to help. Thank you.